It's a team up you've all been waiting for. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders together at last. You see, Trump wants the American people to get a $2,000 stimulus check, and so does Bernie Sanders. In fact, Bernie Sanders has been trying to get $2,000 stimulus checks apparently the entire time, and the Republicans didn't want to do it. For a while, Trump, I feel, was acting at the behest of the Republican Party, trying to maintain some kind of relationship. Now that I think Trump realizes they don't care about him, or at the very least, he can't win back any of the establishment support from the Republican Party, he's like, you know what? Screw it. Give people $2,000 because it's better than $600. And you know what? I got to be honest. $2,000 probably isn't even going to cut it for most people. Now, I know there's a serious problem with just printing money, and I don't think it's going to be good for the American people in the long run. But how about we start with don't print money and borrow money for nonsense like Pakistani gender studies? How about we make sure these stimulus packages and the omnibus spending covers the American people first and foremost? Now, a lot of people are saying in the omnibus bill, only some of it goes to foreign aid programs. Calm down. Yeah, but some of it goes to like these multi-million-dollar art centers that already have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank and don't actually need the Paycheck Protection Program or the stimulus. Many of these people are already extremely wealthy, and regular people need a break. I'll tell you what I don't like about this, and then we'll go through this because, you know, Trump apparently is cutting his vacation short, flying back to D.C. to deal with this because Mitch McConnell's like, nah, I'm not going to give you $2,000. But I'll tell you, man, I don't like the idea that the only approach to what's going on is from the left. Is there no, I mean, listen. I'll tell you this right now. I think we're backed into a corner. We're printing money like crazy, but the American people are about to become homeless, and that's pulling the rug out from under the economy and destroying the lives of regular people. And we can't do that. So you know what? It's probably why Trump and Bernie are in this together, because regular people realize we got a lot of problems. You know, the house is on fire, but at least you can give people some reprieve. Now, the first thing I would say is we need to get rid of all this garbage spending. That's the big issue here. But is there could Trump come out and say, Bernie, you're right. I agree with you. But how about we put something together that says we're going to reopen small businesses? How about we do a more surgical approach to the COVID lockdowns? Protect the elderly and the vulnerable, those with comorbidities, give them stimulus protection in some capacity, and let people who want to work go to work. Let restaurants that want to open. And it's strange to me how many like younger leftist types are so terrified of COVID. I mean, I guess if you don't have the life experience, you've not seen people die, you know, OD, get shot and killed. You know, a lot of older people deal with these things, and you realize we're not immortal. We need to make sure we can survive and keep working. So I'll tell you this. I think we should probably do. I mean, you know, look, Rand Paul made a point that if not $2,000, you know, if $2,000, why not $20,000? Why not UBI? And I mean, there's actually an argument against it. Now, I think Rand makes a good point. Why stop at $2,000? To be completely honest, why not 5 or 10? Why not forgive all of their, you know, loans and pay back landlords and just cover it all up? Because that money is going to have a serious impact on our earning, the amount of money we earn in our wages and our buying power in the future. You're not just getting free money. You're getting money borrowed against your own assets, wages, values, the retirement funds of the elderly. So there's very serious consequences. At this point, I think make those $2,000 come through. Trump supporters and the populists left and right have come together on this one, and it's unsurprisingly it's actually, I'll tell you this, it's the establishment left and the establishment right. No joke. It's the Democrats and the Republicans versus the populists. And you love to see it. You really do. Because I think the populist left and populist right have way more in common than they do, you know, than differences. And it's the establishment that's been manipulating everybody. Now, of course, I don't agree with the you know, socialist populist types, but I think we can all agree that the government is stealing our money. Let me explain. I've never been a big taxationist theft person. I'm actually okay with, you know, fairly center-left economic policy, social safety nets. The problem I have is you can't justify under threat of imprisonment and force that I give you money for Pakistani gender programs. That is stealing. Okay, that's ridiculous. Right now, I'll tell you, in any other circumstance, when we're doing well and the economy's doing well, I kind of, you know, most people shrug their shoulders and say, look, as long as I'm doing fine, and have the means to survive, I'm not really focused on your Pakistani gender programs. At this point, I'm glad people are waking up to it because that's money that could be diverted to other places that need their infrastructure fixed. I mean, it's not just Flint. It's places like Newark. We are wasting money on foreign wars. We are wasting money on gender studies in Pakistan. I know it's only $10 million. It's a lot of money, though, for a small town or, that could be redirected. How about we all just kind of agree on the populist, more liberty-minded side, let's stop letting these people take money for their stupid, garbage programs. And a lot of this money, like I said, it's going to these institutions that already have $600 million in the bank and they have these endowments. Why are we giving these universities and these art institutions all of this money? I get it. We want people to be able to work. We want people to be able to get their paychecks. But how about we just, give money to the American people if we're going to be doing anything? Now, listen, when I say we need an argument from the right, we need to reopen. We need people to get their purpose back. But it doesn't have to be a destructive COVID super spreading type, back to work system. It can just be, how about this? Double social distancing and everyone wears 2 masks and then we allow people to work. It's better than doing nothing. Instead, they're like, lock everything down and then just print money. Okay. The money these people are getting is going to come out of your own pockets and they just don't realize it. They think, well, I can spend the money now. That's true. But then everything you need, your necessities, go up in cost over time very, very, very quickly. I tell you this trick. Go on Amazon, find a piece of equipment or something or a product, put it in your cart, and then just forget about it. Because this happened to me. I had stuff in my cart. I had a tablet. And then like a week later, I went back and said price change. It went up $150. Yeah, that's happening now. People don't get it. You work, several weeks to save up money to be able to buy a new phone. And what's going to happen? You're going to be like, oh, this new phone costs, it's $100 or $200. And then you're like, okay, so I only got to save for about a week or two. A week or two goes by and you're like, finally, I got my paycheck. I have enough to buy this phone. You go on Amazon. Now it's $350. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I got to work another week. And then it happens again and again. That's the problem with hyperinflation. The money stock is nearly doubled. 66% increase now. This is getting crazy. It's getting crazy. But I get it. People have been forced out of work. The problem I have with everything is that the Democrats shut it all down, destroyed people's lives, defying the science because they're terrified, because people like Cuomo are cowards. And then their response is have the federal government take people's taxpayer dollars for all the ridiculous BS that we need. Give the American people less than 10% of it. Let me tell you something. $2.3 trillion spent. The American people are getting less than 10% of that. Amazing. Here's the New York Post. Trump backs Sanders' efforts to force Senate vote on $2,000 stimulus checks. They say earlier Tuesday, Trump retweeted a post from Nicole Fisher, a contributor to Forbes and a former aide to Tulsi Gabbard, noting Sanders' intent to disrupt Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's attempt to override the veto of the National Defense Authorization Act. He says, give the people $2,000, not $600. They have suffered enough, Trump said on Twitter, repeating his call to increase the amount of the coronavirus stimulus payments, including in a $2.4 trillion relief bill passed by Congress last week and signed by him Sunday. In another tweet hours later, Trump said $2,000 for our great people, not $600. They have suffered enough from the China virus. The president has threatened to veto the combined stimulus and spending bill, but then urged the House and Senate to amend the measure to more than triple the payments to $2,000. Bernie Sanders said in a post late Monday that McConnell wants to override Trump's veto of the $740 billion defense bill and then head home for the new year. I'm going to object until we get a vote on legislation to provide a $2,000 direct payment to the working class, he said. The House on Monday voted 322 to 87 to override Trump's veto and 275 to 134 approve the $2,000 payments. Trump objects to the defense bill over 2 provisions. So Trump wants to, they just say, he doesn't want the military bases renamed, and he wants to draw down troops in Afghanistan, and he wants Section 230 amended. Now, here's where things get weird. Mitch McConnell blocked this $2,000 stimulus increase, and he said, you're not going to bully us into it. So actually, I wonder if I actually have that story. Here we go. Bernie shames Mitch McConnell on Senate floor over his refusal to budge on $2,000 COVID checks. Find out how working families in Kentucky feel about this. Bernie shames Mitch, et cetera, et cetera. Mitch McConnell said the Senate won't be bullied into passing it, and there is no realistic path to passage in the upper chamber. Here's the weird thing. Mitch McConnell proposed his own bill. Okay, $2,000, you're going to get it, but you got to repeal Section 230. And many people were saying that was a poison pill because if 230 gets repealed, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, they just go under overnight. Like, they're going to get slammed with lawsuits they wouldn't be able to handle. I think a lot of conservatives don't mind that, but Democrats would not vote for it. I mean, they love their corporate overlords. They get wonderful donations from these organizations, and they love the idea of mass surveillance and institutional authority controlled by leftists. So they're not going to cave to that. It's a poison pill. Interestingly, some others have said that I've seen a tweet going around. I don't know if this is true, but you can fact check this one, claiming that the Senate doesn't have the authority to amend the IRS code in this capacity. It has to originate in the House and then get approved by the Senate. So Mitch McConnell's bill wouldn't work anyway because the House would then have to basically make the bill, pass it first, and then get Mitch to sign off on it, which I guess theoretically could happen. Now, here's where things get real interesting. Trump cutting his vacation short. It's New Year's Eve, baby. 2021, just around the corner. Trump and Melania will fly back to D.C. today and skip their $1,000 a head Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve party as Mitch shoots down $2,000 stimulus checks and Senate Republicans prepare to challenge Biden's win. What if something really funny happens? What if the Democratic establishment and the Republican establishment end up drawing the ire of both populist left and right? And then I'm gonna pause. I'm not saying this is really going to happen, but wouldn't it be funny if Trump comes out hardcore in support of working class families and the stimulus package, defending Bernie Sanders, and it just unifies the populists behind Trump? That would be hilarious. And then you have this objection coming up on January 6th where they're saying they're going to present all this hard evidence. They say, yeah, right. Look, they're saying that, Hawley, Republicans, Mo Brooks, once they object, then the Trump team will have real evidence presented on TV so the American people can see it. And this will be their chance to show the world what really happened. And I got to be honest, I just don't see it. Trump has put out these videos and truth be told, most people are going to want to watch what happens. We're hearing there's going to be an objection, so maybe something will happen. But I'm sure most leftists, many of these, it's like neo establishment. There are people who claim to be populist leftists, people who are like in their early 20s who voted for Joe Biden. And it's the weirdest thing that of all the people you would vote for, like, how do you justify voting for Joe Biden, a 47-year career politician with a history of racism and cronyism? And you're like, the resistance? No, you're neo-establishment, neo-elites. But I guess it's what they like. People love this stuff. It's really weird, too, because you've got older progressive types like Jimmy Dore getting roasted by some of these younger YouTube progressive. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You're for the establishment machine? Oh, man, they would have loved to have been the bad guys in V for Vendetta, I guess. So the Daily Mail reports Donald Trump is going to return to D.C. ahead of his annual New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago in anticipation for a planned disruption by Republicans in Congress in a bid to overturn the election and President-elect Joe Biden's win. The president and First Lady Melania Trump are both expected to leave Florida. We get it. Guests had already been informed that Trump would be in attendance for the shindig where tickets went for $1,000 a head. Trump's plan to return to the White House comes as Republicans announced plans to disrupt certification of Biden's win. The president was also said to have concerns over whether Iran will retaliate in the coming days on the one-year anniversary of the U.S. drone strike that killed Qasem Soleimani. We'll see how that plays out. But this populist left and right, coming together there's actually another really funny thing happening. Boycott Walmart. I don't know if you've seen this, but Josh Hawley, like I mentioned, he's planning on objecting to the Electoral College vote count, which means there will now be a senator and a congressman together creating that objection. In response to Senator Hawley's tweets, Walmart's official account, like the actual Walmart account, tweeted, "Sore loser, get your 2-hour debate." Immediately deleted the tweet. Walmart issued an apology. This is really, really funny. Oh, actually, I have it pulled up right here. They say, the tweet published earlier was mistakenly posted by a member of our social media team. We deleted the post and have no intention of commenting on the subject of certifying the Electoral College. We apologize to Senator Hawley for this error and any confusion about our position. Well, apparently the people who run PR for you, Walmart, are not confused about their position. They want to call Hawley a sore loser and mock him. Well, here's what's happening. This is really interesting. The left and the right now want to boycott Walmart. And I'm sitting here just like, okay, like, sure. Walmart, I hate Walmart, okay? Let me pause a second. I don't hate Walmart. Look, they're a big box store. And right now, mom and pop shops have been destroyed and decimated. And it's mostly been by Democrat governors. I love these neo-establishment YouTube progressives who are like, Tim Pool is supporting, Tim Pool is criticizing efforts to slow the spread. We didn't slow the spread. We slowed it earlier this year. What are you talking about? Slowing the spread and now we have the worst ever? No. Democrats shutting down small businesses and letting Walmart stay open is probably increasing the spread. Have you even considered this? A small business. Let me tell you something. If I need to get an inner tube for my bike, I can go to a bike shop. But how many people are buying inner tubes right now? Not that many. So guess what? I only come into contact with like 5 other people. Now I got to buy an inner tube for my bike. I go to Walmart. Everybody's there. How stupid do you have to be? These neo-establishment people are so annoying. They claim to be the left. They're not the left. Supporting the working class and allowing them to survive would be more leftist. But guess what? It's not even left. The right and the left agree on that. What I don't like about these people is that they think defending Walmart is somehow the resistance. So I can come out and say, when you have the Democratic governor of New York City, New York State, and the Democratic mayor of New York City, when you have the Democratic governors in Pennsylvania, Michigan, New Jersey, California, and they say, oh, that little boutique shop that sells just food? You're shut down. Everybody go to Walmart. That's the lucrative merger of corporation and state that Mussolini claimed was fascism. Okay, I can already hear the left saying fascism is authoritarian nationalism and ultra-traditionalism. Sure, fine, whatever. So don't take Mussolini's word for it. It's some kind of authoritarian, totalitarian nonsense. Why are you okay with that? How would someone be... I love it. Okay, you know what? These people who love to criticize and post out of context clips of me defending Walmart. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Because guess what? Right now, the left and the right are in agreement. So you go play a game of ball with your establishment overlord millionaire class and defend them when they destroy the lives of the working class, take everything away from them, and then block even Donald Trump, who wants these people to get more money. I'll tell you what Nancy Pelosi did. What she did was clever. She called for unanimous consent, not dealing with any of the bloat. She just said, okay, fine, here, unanimous consent. Of course, the Republicans were going to object to that. They're not going to agree to that. I don't think Trump cares at this point. Trump did say, get rid of the pork, get rid of the bloat. But now I think Trump's basically going to be like, you know what, whatever, just give people money. It's really frustrating to me when you see a dirty bill, because Bernie Sanders is calling for a clean bill. This is the Bernie Sanders that I used to cheer for before he started doing this woke garbage and supporting the establishment. Bernie Sanders backing Joe Biden. Barfed in my mouth a little bit when I heard he did that. Are you kidding me? The dude sold out. But this is the Trump and the Bernie that people were waiting for. It's Trump, Bernie. No, what was it? Trump Sanders 2024. I'm kidding. But to have them both come out now, defend the working class. So anyway, here's what we have. The left wants to boycott Walmart because they're a massive corporation. They don't pay a living wage and they, force their employees to effectively go on welfare, which then we pay taxes to subsidize. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with any company doing that. I'm not okay with these meat processing plants encouraging illegal immigrants to come into the U.S. and then instead of paying them their paycheck, they call immigration and have them deported, because that's been happening too. I'm not okay with any of that. I don't like massive multinational corporations siphoning off the value of the working class people. How is that right wing? Isn't it amazing that the criticisms I get that are calling me far right, it's because I say things like that, and I've always said things like that. I'll tell you this. You want to know what I don't like about communism? You got a little old lady who's trying to, sell grapes to get by in a little wheelbarrow. And they say you don't get to control how you spend money and what you receive. And that's what we've seen with all this communism. Putting the boot on the working class. You know what I do like when it comes to regulatory policy? Stopping people, companies like Walmart and people like Bezos from stripping away the value of the working class and siphoning it away to themselves. Oh, surprise, surprise. Isn't that supposed to be the left? Amazing. It's somehow right wing, I guess, these days. So they say. Because the Democrats are corrupt, crony establishment elites, siphoning away the value of the working class, while Republicans sit there twiddling their thumbs. And if you dare criticize the Democrats, who would throw you a pittance and then argue they're the ones supporting the left, you're right wing now. Welcome to 2020, soon to be 2021. The left and the right are coming together with this boycott of Walmart, and I find it hilarious. The left and the right are coming together behind Bernie Sanders. And you know what really bothers me? There are still people who are tribalist leftists who are attacking Trump. It's like, dude, take the win, man. It's crazy. I see these posts on Facebook and Trump's, it's like a screenshot of Trump saying, give him the $2,000. And they're like, does this man have no honor and integrity? He's just making everything worse because he wants to look good. And I'm like, but he's agreeing with Bernie Sanders. Come on. I'm sick of the tribalists. Where's your integrity? Where's the principle? Do you want the American people to get this money? Yes? Okay. It's a great start. Fine. Am I forced now to accept this horrifying compromise with the establishment where they get to print garbage money and send it all over the world while we're suffering? I guess so. It's the best we're going to get. Sure. How about after this, the left and the right comes together and says, you know what? Let me say something. $2.3 trillion. A bunch of this money going to trash, a lot of it going to stupid gender studies programs and things like this. Foreign aid that we probably should not be giving out when we're in trouble. Now, imagine what we could do with that money instead. Imagine, and this is really amazing. Imagine if we took all that money that was going to Egypt and Pakistan and these multi-million-dollar endowment, institutions with endowments. Imagine if we took this money and, I don't know, like forgave a certain amount of either student loan or medical debt. Why not? Let me ask us too, and comment below for the conservatives and the Trump supporters. How would you feel if instead of Pakistani gender programs, we just used that money to pay off some of the debt of working class people who had accrued it either through medical expenses or school? I'm actually okay with that. Absolutely okay with that. I don't like the idea of printing money and borrowing money in the way that they're doing it. And to be completely honest, I'm not a big fan of that in general. But at the very least, if the money that's being borrowed and printed is an investment back into the American people, okay, well, then I don't have a big problem with that for the most part. Like most of you know, I actually lean left on a lot of economic policy. And idealistically, I'm actually fairly far left. The left doesn't want to admit it because what's happening now is the establishment is using the populist left as a tool against Trump and the populist right, and they go along with it. And you have phony progressives with large YouTube channels who support people like Joe Biden, and that's their bread and butter. They're propped up by the establishment, and they love it. That's why Jimmy Dore gets vilified. That's why when Jimmy Dore rags on Democrats, they say they attack him and they insult him and they criticize him. No, it's because Jimmy is a real progressive. He is challenging the system and the establishment elites, and he's not playing ball with Democrats who don't care about you. It's a game to them. They'll say, sure, we're going to give the American people $2,000 each. And that still comes out to like 13 or 14% of this total stimulus bill. Some ridiculously okay, I think it might end up being like 15 or 16%. Great. It's better than the 9% they're getting now. But they're still giving 80+% away to who knows where. I'll tell you what. Here's my proposal to everybody. Let's take that $2.3 trillion stimulus. Let's take the pork, all that bloat. Because not all of it is. There's some stuff in there that's going to fund like legitimate programs and stuff like that. But let's just take all that and do we'll give it to the American people. You know what I would prefer? We're putting $1.5 billion into, I think it's 1.3 or 1.5 into Egypt, $500,000 into Israel. I can understand arguments for trying to, provide military assistance due to the conflicts we see in the Middle East. But right now, we're suffering. We're in serious trouble. I would rather the $10 million, maybe a large, to be completely honest, maybe even the entirety of this foreign aid package, just go to the American people. I would rather $1 billion check be written for some random dude Just some random guy. Here goes $1 billion, because that person's going to spend it here in America, and it's going to cycle around through all this, all of these different people. Now, I think the real issue is you give someone $1 billion, and they're probably going to buy a bunch of nonsense and a bunch of stupid things like paintings and golden statues of themselves. That's why I'm not a big fan of the upward transfer of wealth that's happening. But ultimately, in the end, if we can get this money to the American people instead of this other garbage, I think everyone would be okay with it. I think, a lot of traditional conservatives have criticized Trump for his spending. I've mentioned his spending as well. But they say, Trump supporters say Trump's a populist. They don't care about the deficit spending. It's never been their biggest concern. Doing right by the American people has been their concern, and they're not staunch, traditional conservatives. Now you see the Trump that got elected, the Trump that's willing to say the American people deserve this money, not this ridiculous, foreign aid package. Now, I'll point out Trump negotiated a lot of this himself, but you know what? I'll leave it there. All right. Otherwise, I'll just rant forever. But it's New Year's Eve. I got a couple more segments coming up for you. It's going to be a lot of fun today. I hope you're having a good time. And thanks for hanging out. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel, and I will see you all then.